Hello and welcome back. Now is the fifth video and is question 41-50. So let's go. It says list some lifestyle diseases. They include cancer, certain forms of cancers like lung cancer, liver cancer, throat cancer, bowel cancers. They can be caused by lifestyle, that is the choices of food and drink and things people do to their bodies. And then diabetes, that is a type 2 diabetes actually, because type 1 diabetes is not necessary, is not lifestyle, is could be that children can have it from when they're born, but type 2 diabetes is lifestyle. It is a lifestyle disease. And then you have heart diseases, you have stroke, and you have this big word that I struggle to pronounce, but I'm going to do it, is atherosclerosis. Yeah, I'm not going to do it twice. Once is okay. So, but the spelling is there. These are examples of lifestyle diseases. And then the question 42 says, what causes cancer? Actually, cancers happen when cells begin to divide out of control. Now, there is a pattern of cell division that's acceptable, that's controlled by the body. But when a cell just goes haywire and starts to divide by itself, it can result in tumors which form lumps, and they can be felt by people sometimes, and eventually can be, grow into full cancers. And then smoking can lead to lung cancer. Bowel cancer can be caused by poor diet, of not having enough vegetables and fiber in the diet for over a long period of time. And the liver cancer can be caused by drinking excessive alcohol. Now, two keywords AQA says to highlight. Some cancers are benign, they're benign tumors. They're usually harmless and grows slowly. They're usually just they're harmless, e.g. warts. And then you have the ones that are malignant. The malignant tumors are the ones who often grow more quickly, vigorously, and may spread throughout the whole body. Question 44 says to explain the difference between phloem and xylem in terms of their function. Now, I have an entire video on phloem and xylem adaptations. They are plant vessels. They are involved in the transport system in plants. Phloem transports food and xylem transports water or carries water around the body. Now, the term transpiration is defined as the evaporation of water out of the leaf through the stomata. Stomata, by the way, they're the pores on the leaf through which substances like water vapor can escape, gases can go in and out as well. And they are surrounded by guard cells which control the opening and the closing of the stomata. Question 46 says to list the factors which affect transpiration. Temperature, because the hotter it is, the quicker particles move in and out of the cell. And then the light intensity can also affect transpiration. Air or wind speed. If you have the wind really going very quickly, that means the amount of water droplets around the leaf is going to be less, which means by natural method of diffusion, more particles would come out of the leaf, and compared to when you have a lot of droplets around it, where there will be very little or no diffusion out of the leaf. For light intensity, a very simple way to remind yourself of that is at night, photosynthesis doesn't happen, so which means the guard cells are shut together, so yeah, there will really be no transpiration happening. And then the soil water content can also affect transpiration. Again, it makes sense. If you don't have a lot of water that's been absorbed by the roots through the xylem vessels, there isn't going to be transpiration happening. Now watch this. Translocation. Translocation is the movement of food or sucrose from the leaves down the entire plant and into storage organs. Now, that is very important because the point at which food is made, the organ where food is made in the leaves is the plant is the leaves, but then it needs to get to all the entire part of the plant, and the process of transporting it is called translocation. Question 48 says, what are pathogens? Most students already know this, but I needed to cover every section. Remember, this is a checklist. So pathogens, they are microorganisms which cause diseases. You have some bacteria which are helpful bacteria. They are not. You cannot call those pathogens. For you to say microorganism are pathogens, it means they actually cause a particular disease. And there are three classes of, or three groups of microorganisms which cause diseases. You have bacteria, some are harmful, some are harmless, and you have fungi. Some are harmful, some are harmless, and you have viruses. Viruses are all bad, no good viruses. And then I've just written here vectors. Vectors are the living things which carry disease causing organism from organism to organism. For example, that's very wordy with organism appearing many places, but let me just explain. If you have a pathogen that causes a disease like the plasmodium, it causes malaria, but that is actually carried from an infected person to another person to be infected by mosquitoes. So mosquitoes are the vectors for that particular pathogen. And then we go to question 49, which says we should explain symptoms of some viral diseases like measles, fever, and a skin rash. They are the main symptoms of measles. It's usually contacted by children. It is a communicable disease because non-communicable diseases are diseases that are not transferred from person to person. They're genetic, they're just caused by lifestyle and all of that. But communicable diseases can be transferred from person to another, or from animal to person, or can be transferred from one organism to the next. So for measles, when sufferers sneeze, then it is carried in droplets, water droplets, and it can be passed from one person to another. And eventually in adults, it can lead to infertility. That is the inability to reproduce. All right. HIV is the human immunovirus, and it actually once it's contacted, the symptoms are very mild flu-like symptoms. Later on, it can become AIDS, the acquired immune deficiency syndrome. That means it begins to actually attack and destroy the person's immunity. What that means is that a very, very simple flu or a very simple infection could be sufficient to kill the person. Another one is the tobacco mosaic, which affects plants. It specifically affects the chloroplast of plants, thus changing the color of the leaves from green to yellow. And once you see the leaves turning yellow, well, that's enough for the plant. Is going to die. Now we have bacterial infections. Two of them I have put up here according to the requirement of the AQA. The salmonella is what people usually refer to as food poisoning. People can catch it when they eat food that's infected and food that's not properly cooked. The symptoms are abdominal cramps, vomiting, and diarrhea. Diarrhea is excessive stooling, excessive pooing, if you want to use that word. And then you have gonorrhea. Gonorrhea is a bacterial infection. It's also an STD or an STI. Some people call it STD or STI. That's sexually transmitted infections or sexually transmitted diseases. Now, that is as it stated there, the mode or method of contacting it is through unprotected sex, sexually transmitted from person to person. And the symptoms are burning pain, burning sensation when the person is urinating. Eventually, thick yellowish discharge can begin to come out of the genitals of the person. And if it's not properly treated, it can cause infertility. I say to young people, have yourself checked regularly and ensure that you are good and take the proper precaution to avoid contacting these diseases. By the way, everybody knows that HIV is also sexually transmitted. That does it for us. Question number 41 to 50. I'm just going to load the next one almost immediately because that's ready to go as well. Remember, we're going to do 100 of them. See you again soon.